He likes it. He likes it, right, man? That's what I'm talking about.
Congratulations, Peter.
Green.
Let's look at our goalie. Regular season, he had 12 goals against, which is a 0.67 goal against average. The next two stats kind of go hand in hand, but that's the fewest goal against average that we've ever had against since joining the TVO. We also had 11 shutouts, which is the most that we've ever had. So a low, yeah, okay. So, although Ryan wasn't ranked number 1 in the TVL this year, he put up better stats than our goalie last year, which is still worthy of a lot of credit. So going back, did we recover? And you look at all that, and I think it's pretty obvious when you just start looking at all those stats that we certainly did. Not only did we recover, but we had more success than last year, which is obviously I'll give these kids a lot of credit. So moving on to the seniors, and there's 5 of them. Tonight, starting off with Jake Pereira. Jake. So everyone has a nickname. I don't know how they get these nicknames. No one ever called him that. I made this one up. He didn't have a nickname, neither one. So he just reminded me of an old wise man. He's like a wizard. And you can see the strong resemblance. I was trying to, like, how am I going to explain this? So I started saying, it doesn't really matter, what wise old man I choose. As long as they're old and wise, it'll work. This is what Jake Pereira is. He's just an old wise man. Jake's our manager, and he's really not just a manager. He really goes above and beyond. And I know what you're probably saying. You're probably saying, "Come on, Aaron, he's just a manager." Well, he's not just a manager. And if you sit on the bench, you'll probably see that. I'm probably the worst coach to be a manager for. And I know that Steve and Nick will tell you I'm absolutely the worst coach to be an assistant coach for. You're not supposed to shake your head. I would never be my own assistant coach. It must be very, very frustrating. But Jake was always a step ahead of absolutely everything. And he always knew what I was thinking. That's what happens when you work together really, really close. And, I remember a couple of stories. For example, we were in a game and, offside there for us. And I turned to Jake and said, "Jake, are you kidding me? Offsides? Jake, can you please start marking down how many offsides we have here? Coach, we already have 4 offsides. Sean Latch has 2, Matt has 1, Sean has 1. How do you do that? So then I was like, all right, I'm going to keep going with this. So, Jake, can I ask you something? How in the world... Jake, let me know if I'm crazy here. Did you hear me? Because now I'm just mad. 4 offsides. So, Jake, tell me if I'm crazy here. Did you hear me scream at our forwards to stay disciplined and to watch that back line? Yes, Coach, I heard you. You're crazy. So, can you please explain to me? Did you say I'm crazy? No, Coach, I didn't say you're crazy. Can you please explain to me how we have 4 offsides? And then I walk away, and then I hear, well, when the ball was played, John was on the... It's a rhetorical question. So I don't have a clue what's going on when I call the papers. I'm lucky if I know that we have a win or a loss. And so I had to go to Jake, and I said, "Jake, look, man, you got to help me out. These guys are asking me how we score goals, and I don't have a clue how we score goals. I don't even know who the score is. I don't even know who scored. So can you please do me a favor? Just start writing down the description of these goals so I can help the papers out." So 3 games later, of course, Peter Govis, Sun Chronicle, says, we scored. And it's like, "Hey, why don't you tell me how Jared Kahn scored that goal?" It's like, "Peter, I don't know how to hold on a second." So then, just like a teleprompter, Jake, Jake, he's right on. So I just start reading it. Jared proceeded to dangle 4 people, Peter, and I realized when I was reading, can you not put that in the paper? So Jake had an incredible personality. He made my job very, very easy. Very, very fortunate to have him. So, I wouldn't feel comfortable even 3 years without some type of award for Jake. So kind of like his nickname, I made up an award. And I'm gonna call this the Manager's Award. I think that was fitting. So this is going to Jake Ferrer, the Manager's Award for all of your efforts. So who's next? Tyler Hughes. He's a legend. Again, I don't know why. I didn't make this one up. Do you know why, Justin? No one knows why. So, I don't know why you're laughing. So I like to use a comparison if I can. Well, I'm going to. I was just asking to fill some time. I'm going to use a comparison to talk about soccer players and seeds, flower seeds, because we've all planted seeds at some time in our life. And the idea is you plant a seed in some very nice soil, right? And how am I doing, Mrs. Bukowski, with the science stuff? We good so far? All right, good. So I haven't even started with my analogy. I'm just talking about soil. So you plant the seed and you water it, and you really start to develop the roots. And most of us can get those roots to develop it. And then you water it some more, and that's when you're just waiting. Will it grow? Will it grow, right? And then if you're anything like me, most of the time it doesn't. Sometimes it grows, sometimes it doesn't. Don't water John's head, he's not a seed. So then you give up, and you try again next year, and you go back, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's still there. This little tiny thing is still there. So you start watering it again. And sometimes it grows, and sometimes it doesn't grow. Tyler was that seed. Now, before I go on, can you just imagine what's going on through Coach Hughes' head right now? He's one of the toughest guys in this room, and a big wide receiver football player. And I'm comparing his son to a tulip. So remember when you said I was the most annoying person to work for? This one's for you. So, again, and I mean it truthfully. Sometimes the truth of it is in high school soccer, sometimes no matter how much you water that seed, it just doesn't grow. It just stays as a little bit of root or whatever. And Tyler, first couple of years it was like that. And then his senior year, it blossomed. And this was a very, very beautiful flower. If I knew anything about flowers, I would tell you the most beautiful flower in the world, but I don't know anything. But the truth of it is he really, really blossomed. And what I always say is, no one's going to remember the times when you were struggling to get that flower to grow. They're all going to look at that flower and say, wow, that flower is so beautiful. This is my soft side, by the way. Peter, are you taping this? Tyler made a decision this year. He made a decision that he is going to develop. He is going to blossom. And I've been looking for this potential. We brought him onto varsity his sophomore year. And sometimes we bring kids up, not necessarily to come in and be a huge impact, but to train them for the future. And that's what sophomore year did. Junior year, we had high hopes for him to step in. And again, you water in that. And for one reason or another, maybe we didn't give him enough sunlight. I don't know, but it just didn't work out. It didn't blossom. Notice how I keep saying flowers many times as I can, just to get to Steve Hughes tonight. But he made the decision that he is going to blossom this year, and I think we'll see that with the rest of the night with him. But he really got beat. He was a very, very good distributor, which our outside backs you have to be. We don't just stay on the back line. He's a very, very physical, tough leader, selfless leader, played tough. He's a ninja, and he's like a triple black belt. I don't even know. I pulled him aside one day. I said, Tyler, can you please just beat me up? I want to be beat up by a ninja so bad. And I really did. And I just wanted to see what this is all about because Coach Hughes kept saying, you should see this kid. And I wanted to see his skill. And I'm convinced that I would never see it until home game against Westwood. And I will never forget this. Tyler fouled a Westwood kid. And it was whatever. It was just a little foul. Who cares? Get up. Let's move on. And this kid got up and did not want to move on, and he got Ryan Tyler's face, and I loved it. I didn't even move. Usually I move over and get the ref involved. I'd even get in between. Oh no, I stayed right there because I have the best seat. And I said, it's going to happen. I am going to see him roundhouse this kid to the head. And it was the first time in my life. Now parents, I'm going to share something with you, okay? It was a don't tell the AD this, but it was the first time in my life I wanted my player to get a red card. Because I wanted to see this. And the kid must have sensed some type of legend from him. And the kid decided to back down. And I was really mad. So I started to egg the kid on. You won't! Coach was like, what are you doing? Nothing. You're bigger than him. But Tyler just showed his discipline. And to this day, I still haven't seen him kick anyone. And we lost his stats. So Tyler had an incredible season. And to top it off, just to kind of show all this, Tyler is going to, he's going to get the TVO All-Star. It's my second team. Which is very impressive. It's always impressive when a defender can get it because naturally he doesn't have many stats and all that, but he certainly stood out enough where the other coaches recognize that. He's going to get the TVL second team All-Star. He's also going to get this year's Most Improved Player. So, that was a handshake of ninja. You didn't have to say anything to me. You felt it. All right, we got Noah Freitas. Noah is, well, a bull. Again, I don't know why, but this is what they tell me, so I go with it. A bull is strong. A bull is confident. A bull is very well disciplined. Bull is a very, very well-skilled player, and you know, I'm always very, very realistic with my players, one way or the other, and I'm going to continue to be realistic with Noah tonight. You know, Noah is a very, very well-skilled player on a very, very, very well-skilled team. If you take Noah, I really think you can put him on the majority of teams in the TVL. He's probably going to start, if not receive a significant amount of playing time. And right now, again, you're on a team, and it's just, you know, sometimes that's what happens. It stinks, you know, when you have a team having that success. As, you know, we're doing whatever we can. Here's Belichick. We're doing what we can to win, whatever it takes to win. Bull has he's fantastic. During one game, I remember the first time in Holliston, you know, I turned to the coaches, I'm like, this kid's got some skills, just sit back and watch this. Sure enough, 1 minute later, he does a Maradona around the player and passes off. And I was so excited, I said, hey, Jake! He goes, already knocked it down, 1 Maradona, no worries. Thank you, Jake. But he made a decision this year, and it's really, really one of the most impressive things with this program and also with Noah. You know, he started off, he was on JV for the past 3 years, and he made a decision this year that he was going to make varsity. And all these players know that no one gets a free buy. Just because you're in the system for 3 years doesn't mean you get a free buy. He made the decision, and I remember every single year I'd pull him aside and said, Noah, you're improving so much, you know, given this situation. I'm not going to be able to get you on varsity this year. And, you know, and I pulled him aside this year and I said, listen, you're going to be on varsity. You know, I'm not going to sit back and guarantee you playing time or anything like that. I really think that I can get you in a lot of games this year. But I give him a lot of credit because I think that a lot of kids in his situation, you know, looking at everything, you know, might take the option of quitting, saying it's probably not going to work out, but that's just not in a bull's nature. You don't quit like that. So his growth potential is fantastic. He's really the epitome of somebody where we ask you to do your job, and he does his job. He knows his role, and he constantly strives to improve and uphold himself with incredible dignity and respect. So because of all of that, this year Noah is going to get the Coach's Award. All right, next is Matt Bukowski, Matt Ted Ray. I don't know. Do you know Matt?
Yeah.
Peter knows.
Yeah, Matt.
What's the Ray from? Luke gives most of these nicknames, and we just don't know what's going on with him. All right, so Matt, so Matt is a firecracker. There you go. Like, oh boy, this could go many different directions right now. But if we stop and think about what a firecracker is, I'm gonna get deep with y'all. It shoots up, and you don't know what you're gonna get. And you watch it rise, and you watch it rise, and then you hear it. You don't know what you're gonna get, but if we really think about it, you're never disappointed with what comes out. And that's kind of the whole idea that I think about Matt. Did you like that, Matt? Yeah, I thought of that all by myself. That was good. So that's really how I talk about it. You know, you wait for that explosion, and Matt does have, you know, an unbelievably awesome explosion. Matt's decision this year, you know, and it's very, very tough. It's very easy to take a kid like Matt and take him for granted. You sit back and you say he led the league in goals last year, so he's going to go out and he's going to produce again. And, you know, I had to pull Matt aside a couple of times and say, Matt, listen, you know, I've been around this game. I'm going to tell you right now, your game's going to be a lot different this year. You're going to be the #1 marked kid in this entire league. And you just have to start mentally preparing yourself for that. You know what, that goal production may not be the same as it was last year. You know, and he made the decision that, all right, I'm going to, you know, take the guidance. You know, because I told him, look, we might have to put a whole new game plan together than what we had last year, but, you know, let's go into the season, let's stay together, and let's try to get success out of this team first. And he made that decision to do that, and I think it was a very, very good decision. First, he knows this statistic better than me, but first 4 games, we didn't get a goal. Is that what it was? First 4 or 5 games? 5 games? Yeah, he knows exactly what it is. And when you say 5 and it was really 4, he gets mad. Yeah, first 4 games, now, you know, I understand the mentality of a goal scorer. And again, that may not seem like a big thing, but you're leading the league in TDL goals, and now you're returning, and you're shut out for the first 4 games. So I can obviously understand where he's coming from. Well, the other side of that is we're 3-1. You know, we lost Banquet the first game, and we're 3-1. So I had to pull Matt aside, and we had to have another talk. I said, Matt, I think you know what I'm going to say here, and he did. You know, which is, again, he made that decision. He goes, Coach, you don't have to tell me we're winning, and I'm not scoring. So that's what we're going to keep doing. And it's like, well, that certainly makes my speech a lot easier. You know, and it's really, really good because I'm not so sure Matt would have said that his freshman year coming in here. And without going into too much in depth with that, I think that he's really, really mature. So looking at Matt, I said, look, you know how I work. I don't really care who puts that ball in the back of the net, but at the end of the day, I get to look back and say we're in 3-1 right now in second place in TDL. The second part of the story is you haven't scored a goal. So I say it bluntly, man, I'm sorry, I don't really care. We're winning. And he kind of looked at me, he's like, all right, I gotcha. I said, so look, this is how we're going to have to go about this, man. We're going to have to be very, very patient here, and you're going to have to understand that whether you're attracting all the players and your teammates score a goal, or whether you start going score goals, one way or the other, you're going to be the most effective person on this field and getting us to win a game. And to get a goal scored to really buy into that mentality, I really thought was impossible. I thought I was that watered seed that would not grow. Steve hates me right now. But he really bought into it, and like anything else, the first goal is the hardest, he got it. So now talking about him individually, getting that first goal, he would go on to score many others, but not taking away from all the assists and the attention that he got during the year as well. I like stats to speak for themselves. They don't tell the whole entire story, but they don't lie. And I think it tells a huge story of what Matt is this year. He has so many that are written a little lower, and you can probably read them better than me, but starting off with last year, 2013, again, TBL most goals. He was Eastern Mass, he had TBL first team. This year, he came in second place for both goals, second to John, and second place to overall in the entire league. And I compare him with John because, you know, as you guys have already found out, it's pretty cool when you have the 2 players leading the TBL in goals, and it's kind of cool to watch that friendly little battle there. What else we got going on there? Overall in his career, he has 57 total points, 38 goals, and 19 assists. All these stats start off when I started coaching. I don't really have stats before that with these types of things. So he's gonna come in second place in most goals and points overall since I started taking over, which is pretty cool considering that we've had a lot of phenomenal goal scorers come through here. So the very last thing about Matt Bukowski is his physical toughness. I think he's one of the most passionate players on our team, and I think he's the toughest player on our team. And all these players know that you are fully expected to play through a lot of pain. You're not expected to play through injury, but you're definitely expected to play through pain. So you're going to have to find somewhere deep down inside to get over that because you're going to be asked to play when you're hurt. And Matt did that. He didn't need much convincing for him. It was actually sometimes we had to pull him off, say, look, we're not going to get to the injured aspect here, but we ask kids to put their body on the line, obviously be safe about it, but put their body on the line every single year. And those players that really rise to that get the Lancer Award, and Matt Bukowski's going to get the Lancer Award this year. Good job, Matt. And then we have